What is up, YouTube family? Today I want to talk about a topic that I hold close to my heart, which is exercising and training, but specifically training for fitness compared to training for recovery. I'm going to list the differences between the two and compare them from my personal experience and share with anybody who may need some help or knowledge, whether you are just training intensively or you are training to get out of injury as well. I will also list similarities between the two. I want to start by giving a little bit of my background with my own personal training. So as I mentioned before on a couple of my videos, I played football for about 12 years. I developed the work ethic around 8 years old, but I would say I started to train real intense about 10 years old. It became all about pushing myself to my limits and nonstop grinding when everybody else was asleep. I was always an early bird because of my schedule and my parents' schedules. I always loved to watch highlights growing up. I always watched interviews with all my favorite players, and I always watched motivational videos from my favorite players. So it's kind of ironic how I'm here now. It was all about putting in all the work I could, outwork the competition. When you're young and flimsy and flexible and strong and you don't have any past of an injury, you don't have to worry about much. It's just all about push and train, and you'll be sore, recover, come back and push through, you'll get better. From 10 years old all the way until I was about 17. Then I stopped, started working manual labor jobs, worked a job where I was lifting ice that hurt myself. I already talked about this in a previous video. When I stopped training and exercising, just because I was living and life was getting the best of me and making excuses for it, and I hurt myself. I have some notes I have written down to get my point across more clearly. I discussed my history, 8 years of training with the same kind of mindset. At the age of 20, I didn't know much about recovering from a physical injury and how to sustain that going forward, or how to train smartly while recovering from that injury. It's gonna be multiple sets, so you're doing a lot. You may add weight, you may not. You're usually training to failure. At least that's the mindset I had. So that can be dumb if you're not careful. When you're just training for fitness, you can still generally try anything and you're just gonna be sore and just rest it off or get a little massage or stretch and you're fine in a couple of days. Shake it off. That's what they always told us, right? You're gonna have different days where you're doing legs, shoulders, chest, cardio. If you're experienced in the gym, if you've been working out since you were young, if you continued it past high school, then you're probably also used to sets and switching your days up, and you've got a nice routine, and I respect that. As you get older and continue working out, of course you should become more strategical with it. So shout out to everybody who does train for fitness strategically, but I'm listing all the norms that I knew prior to getting chronic injuries at the age of 21, going on to 25. All of my injuries are something I'm going to have to sustain for the rest of my life. When you have something like that, of course, your first time dealing with it, it can be very, very shattering, right? Prayers for anybody else out there who have experienced anything like this. You have to educate yourself on what you need to do. Of course, you'll probably start by talking to a doctor, a specialist, physical therapy, chiropractor, yoga, walk, ice, heat, bath. Of course, they're going to prescribe you pain pills. What I want to get across before I continue is that when you're training to get out of an injury, all those things I listed before are just temporary band-aids. We have to understand as a human race that we have to use or we will lose our body. The more you sit around, the more your muscles and your body and your bones could eventually struggle to maintain what they need to do. I mean, it's a proven fact. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified in those areas to diagnose nothing, but it's proven that we have to use our body. If you break your arm, you're in a cast, and then you don't learn how to raise that arm, what's the chances of you raising and utilizing that arm to the fullest in the future? So there's a whole stigma behind the Band-Aid mentality. I understand what it's like to just want to instantly get out of pain. While the Band-Aid treatments help, they only help you to a certain degree at the point you are in your injury. So if you've been dealing with the injury for more than a year, ibuprofen every day is probably not gonna help. Our bodies are meant for mobility. The regular life that we live in of a 9 to 5, whether that's sitting, lifting, twisting, moving, standing, a lot of these movements are damaging on our body over time. We all know this too. Yes, the everyday lifestyle can make it hard to still find time to eat correctly, train, listen to your body. Truth of the matter is, life is a balance. If you want your body to continue to move mobile and you be pain-free, we all have to keep strengthening and using our body, training our body. When I slipped my disc the first time, once I got that relief of pain-free, the training went all out the window for me. So I want to emphasize that it takes a complete mindset change, a whole new level of faith in yourself, level of reflection, and you gotta be very humble to realize, okay, dang, I injured myself again, or I re-injured this because I did too much, I didn't do enough, I neglected it, or I was painkillered up and everything was numb and I really couldn't tell what was going on. If you're training by yourself, or if you're training with just a physical therapist, which has been me, or if you're on an online training program, which I just started about 15 weeks ago. When you're just all by yourself and you're doing it with yourself, it takes a completely different attention to detail and humility because you don't have somebody there pushing you every day, every set, every rep. Or nobody's gonna be able to tell you how to listen to your body. To add right to that, you must become obsessed with becoming a student of your body. Listening, feeling what your body's telling you. I've adapted to my new program, but every day my personal battle is, am I doing enough or am I doing too much? The way I used to train, the work ethic I have is just go, 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 go. Had to have that mindset change to be okay with finding new ways to use my mind to still hustle and not push my body to the extent, because if I just keep pushing it, I'm gonna make my injury worse. But then also taking the time to reflect each week or each day on how my body responds. Something that took me really long to get used to was writing down my weekly progress. I suggest you write down your flare-ups. Then you have to give yourself the grace, which is something I really struggle with, the grace and the time to see what your body does, because usually it's gonna respond within 24 to 48 hours. Training to recover from an injury tests your patience on a whole nother level because of everything I just said. You must be very intentional in your movements, squeezing the right muscle that you're trying to activate when you're lifting. What LBA has taught me, tissue tolerance versus muscle tolerance versus bone tolerance are 3 completely different levels. And all of them take time to learn, they take time to heal, and they take time to show themselves. You have to be patient and humble with the idea of my tissue tolerance or my muscle tolerance today was only 10 reps, but at least it's 10 reps, and last week it was just 5 or 8. That is then sign of progressive building. In that midst of patience, another big problem I had was noticing on where to increase and where to remove. And again, if you're taking numbing agents, prescription drugs, or facing any addiction due to the pain, it can be even harder, and you're honestly making it even harder on yourself. I've done this too, to notice how your body's responding. I've had injections and I've had muscle relaxants prescribed to me before. In the way that the traditional 6 or 12 weeks of physical therapy is set up, you're only gonna raise your sets from maybe 10 reps to 25 in that time. They have a certain level and a certain amount of exercises for your injury. And I don't mean no disrespect to these fields, but I practically got discharged from physical therapy with my shoulder because I was passing all of her tests and I was showing improvement in the 12 weeks. I dislocated my shoulder twice in 1 week and slightly tore my labrum. So she made it clear that there were certain movements I wasn't gonna be able to get past. But if you know of knees over toes guy, or again, low back ability, and I'm sure there's a lot of other cases, these are just the cases I've been blessed to know about. The more you slowly and gradually adapt your body to something, it can adjust, it can overcome, and it can be pushed. But again, it's about slow, gradual deposits and making sure you're paying attention to detail, strengthening the muscles and ligaments around as well, where to build and how your body's reacting. With physical therapy, I would get stuck and mess up with, I got 10 sheets of paper. I would continue to do those 10 sheets of paper for my shoulder for weeks. Now I'm owning full responsibility in the fact that I should have kept educating myself on how to push it. There's still a knot in my back because my body doesn't have the neurological trust because it's been so protective. Tightness and stiffness is a sign of protection and mistrust in your body due to lack of movement. And that's something that Knees Over Toes guy, LBA, and anybody in their team has helped me understand. You gotta lose it or you will lose the mobility in your body. Of course, this is gonna vary on the significance of your injury. At about 4 weeks of doing the same exercise, we should all be looking to add a little more reps onto that. Now, again, if you're a normal gym person and you're training for fitness, you'll say, oh, you're really gonna do 10 reps for the same thing for a whole month? Trust me, again, I know that sounds silly. I'm right now training to open my lower back. I can't just jump from a split squat at full height elevation because I struggled to do it in the beginning, to dropping all the way to the floor and adding weights in a matter of a week and think I'm not gonna be hurt. A split squat is something I never knew of or never done until I started LBA. Build tolerance to a rep, slowly but surely. See how your body responds. But then after about a month, you need to add more reps or at least reflect on where your body's at with it. Practice the day-by-day, weekly reflection. I even had to get a notebook and actually start writing down my dates of when the inflammation happened, how long it lasted, the flare-up, I should say, what I did and where to increase. That brings me to my next point. You have to understand building progressively. Right now I'm working on my isometric holds, strengthening my low back muscles. Just got to 45 seconds. I will do the same 45 seconds for about 2 weeks. That last session for that second week, I'll try to push it another 5 or 10 seconds. That is pushing my tissue tolerance to work up to that level, but it also will show me, can I handle 55, 50 seconds, or am I gonna get a flare up from it? If I get a flare up from it, it's okay. That's a part of the process. But the fact that I can do 45 seconds compared to barely 20 seconds 4 months ago is still progressively building. When you're training to get out of an injury, you got to be able to accept your wins when you can get them. If you achieved your set goal for the day and you didn't flare up, that's awesome. If that was new for you, stay at that for a little bit. Next week, try to improve it. Or the week after, try to improve it. You get the point. Any small deposits on your body is better than none. Days off are just as important. I've always been a workaholic since I was 10 years old. So a day off, listening to greats like Eric Thomas or Ray Lewis, a day off, what is that? I wanted to go to the NFL, so there was no day off. It was outwork the competition. I loved the fact that I was working when others weren't. It gets hard to accept when you're in an injury that, dang, I gotta take today off because I hurt myself yesterday. But that goes back to the mindset shift, and had to remind myself of, I just progressively built yesterday. It's okay. I had to find some sort of comfort in that. And for me, it's not only been being real about it and writing it down to help reflect to see my progress. I'm going to have to keep utilizing my brain to sustain a healthy body. Rest and recovery is important, and it is needed in small amounts as well. Except that day offs can come, flare-ups can come, but it does not define you. Just keep making sure some sort of way you still make some sort of small deposit. So for anybody training to get out of injury, I'm in that battle with you. Just try to give yourself the mental grace, because when you're in an injury that's been going on for over a year or so, mine longer than that, we have to learn to calm down our mind too, because stress plays a part in inflammation. The last thing I'm gonna say about training to recover from an injury is understand it's all connected. Your body is all connected. The best way I can put this is using myself as a personal example again. On my MRI, it says L5-S1. It's hard for me to sit sometimes. I couldn't stretch my back out because I had dislocated my shoulder, which then caused it all to jam up here. And now my low back is pulling on an unstable upper back, bringing tension down there. The hips messed up. All of that ended up working its way up into my neck. Don't beat yourself up, because I was at a point with that. Oh my God, another injury. Here goes my shoulder, or here's neck, and here's the hips, and you think it's completely disconnected, but no. With a weak low back, pulling on a weak upper back, that's a problem. And then your hips support everything, and then it goes all the way down to your feet, supporting the weight. But most of your weight is here at your back and your hips. If you're tight in your traps and your neck, it's probably due to your shoulder blades. I'm still tight up there because I didn't keep progressively building and pushing my limit with the shoulder, so it still wants to resist back here. It's all connected. Just keep asking questions, keep paying attention, keep reflecting, take notes, take it one step at a time. You got this. The last thing I want to include about both the training styles in life is the similarities. When you decide to work out, you have to decide if you are bulking up to gain weight. Are you cutting and losing weight? Are you maintaining, which is probably one of the most hardest styles to work out? Or are you trying to slowly, progressively build and recover from an injury? That is so important to decide because it decides your entire training program. It will show how your body responds to what you're doing. So decide what your goal is with working out. Both sides get shamed from society for their styles of training. When you're in the gym all the time, somebody's gonna say you're a gym head, or you have no life, or you're crazy. Somebody's gonna have something bad to say about what you do regardless. I think we all need to accept that one. Whenever I tell somebody I don't wanna lift that up because I have a hurt back and I'm 25, they'll say, oh, don't be a pussy. And like being told that after a amount of years will piss you off and wanna say, you dude, you don't even understand it. Like, it's okay if you accept that you've been messing your back up for 20 years. I'm not gonna proceed to do that. Both exercising styles must adjust your diet. That has been a hard one for me because I mentioned I love sweets. Sugar is a part of inflammation, and some things can increase or reduce inflammation. So your diet is a must. You must stay hydrated as well. A big lesson that I learned this year is you must train more than one body part. 9 months into training my left shoulder, I had noticed some compensation and some pain in my right side. And then I'm like, dude, this entire time, we really weren't training the right side. That adds to my point, like, of what being in pain, being in a brain fog, trying not to overdo it. And then, like, for me, I was just so focused on this side getting out of pain. I thought the right side was good. You're not really taught those overcompensations when you're just focused on train, become the best you can. So it's a big mindset change. Working out depends on the individual person, your body, your health status, how it responds, your schedule, what you do for work. Both styles, you must be dedicated and disciplined to seeing results, and you must understand that working out takes time. Results takes time. Even if you're in the gym and you still have that style of pushing to failure, it is still important to remember you must allow for recovery and you must listen to your body. I hope I was able to inspire or bring some clarity to anybody in either of the training styles. I hope I was able to bring some light and help point out something to you that may help you with your workout style. I hope I was able to bring you some faith. Keep trying new workouts. Keep adding your reps. If you're working out, period, and taking care of your health, I respect you. Let's stop any sort of judgment in the gym community, period. Because there's so much they are still learning about the body. Your body is adaptable. It is trainable through small progressive deposits that may take a long time, but you have to attack it from all directions. Again, I hope I was able to help and point something out. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what kind of videos you like. I want to engage with you guys and hear your point of views as well. Like I always say, take care of yourself and take care of your health. Prioritize you.